we're breaking free. Yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty, breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting loud, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty, breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting loud, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty, breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. We're claiming our land, yeah.
I hate this show. Oh my goodness.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to a Tuesday night edition of Are You Smarter Than a Politician? This is your gateway drug to liberty. Tonight, three notable political minds step into the arena to battle over one massive question. Has government quietly spread into every corner of American life? From surveillance, war, and corporate power to healthcare, education, money, and the culture of permission, we're diving headfirst into the growing fight between freedom and control. Tonight's theme is the government is everywhere. And get ready, because tonight you decide who is smarter than a politician. Joining us tonight has been on many times before, a friend of mine, Phil Rein. He's with LP Alliance. You can find him on X at Phil_Rein. And he's also on X under LP Allies at LP_Allies. How are you tonight, Phil?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm always happy to be here to spread the good word of freedom. So it's fun to be back.
You're a busy man. Tell us what you've been up to.
Oh, we're just getting ready for the national convention. We really want the Libertarian Party to do well. We're in kind of a political environment where I think government intrusion is kind of so obvious now that there's a real chance for the Libertarian Party to kind of take center stage. And so, I work with an organization called LP Alliance, and our goal is to try to get libertarians to come work together in good faith for the betterment of the party, and then ultimately for everybody's freedom.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. I totally agree with you, and looking forward to seeing you next week in Grand Rapids.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
New to the show, joining us for her first time, Catrina Rocco. She is a candidate for LNC at large. She is also the LP New York volunteer director, state comms, and you can find them at lpny.org. And her X, it's very easy. It's at cat_R4 at large. How are you tonight, Kat?
Hey, good. I'm fortunately in my car, but good.
Excellent. Tell us what you're up to and what you're running for.
So I'm running for at large. I have a few endorsements from a few caucuses, so you might see, I'm sorry, my New York accent just came out. So you might see those pictures floating around. And I'm here just trying to help my state affiliate build up membership and get some name recognition and notoriety. And I'm here to help move the LP forward. I think it's 50 years, and granted, we don't have the infrastructure that the Democrats and Republicans have in their parties that they've evolved from. But you know what? For 50 years, we're still around. That's good. But we need to graduate middle school. So I'm hoping to come on board and help us move forward and graduate middle school and gain some influence out in the political arena, more than we do now. Yeah.
Excellent. Look forward to seeing you in Grand Rapids as well. So, and good luck with all that.
Thanks.
Awesome. And last but not least, one of our first contestants ever. He's been on a bunch of times. My buddy, Joe Hannoush. He is a candidate for Florida House of Representatives. You can donate to him at PayPal. What is it? PayPal.me/Joe Hannoush. And then his website's joehannoush.com. And shockingly enough, on X, he is also at Joe Hannoush. How are you tonight, Joe Hannoush?
I am good. Joe Hannoush is good. All my things. By the way, I listen on Facebook.com/Joe Hannoush. That works too. The only thing I'm not Joe Hannoush on is like Instagram, I think, which I'm still Joe Hannoush there. It's just add 2026 to the end. But no, I'm running for state house here in Florida. This is my 5th time running as a Libertarian candidate here. I'm trying to help grow the party, just like the other 2 guests on tonight. We need to grow viability. We need to graduate, become on parity with the major parties, and we got to offer people a pro-liberty choice against the duopoly, authoritarian duopoly that Democrats and Republicans represent. And who's doing that? Ryan Woodcraft. He won. He's a Libertarian. He's an elected official. He won. Ran a couple of times as a Libertarian candidate, El Paso, Texas, and now he's an elected Libertarian for the local school board there. So it was a historic election for him and the Libertarian Party as a whole. And I'm trying to get more of those Ryan Woodcrafts elected across the country.
So, Joe, I got a little here. You just released a hype video, and I watched it a couple of times, and guess who I didn't see?
Sorry, you cut out. The volume cut out.
Oh, no, I said I saw your hype video, and guess who didn't make your hype video?
Well, you talking about the 1-minute video on my
your hype video.
Yeah, I did not make that. There's a great friend here in my local affiliate. I've known her. We came in and partied. Well, she was actually before me. So I've known her the whole time I've been in the party, which is over 9 years now. And she made that video for me using clips of like the 9 years I've been involved. So shout out to Leah Bartos and here in Florida. She made that for me. And I couldn't, my face hurt from smiling at watching that because it brought back a lot of great memories from campaigning and local activism here. Yeah,
no, it's really cool. It's a good one. I'll send her some stuff that I think needs to be added. So, but it's pretty good right now. So, all right, joining us, last but not least, our lovely producer, Terry Batts. How are you tonight, Terry?
I like Professor.
Just don't ask Professor of what. That would be the thing. Okay, so everybody ready to go? I sure am. Let's get this ball rolling. And the chat is already hopping, so I'm already busy, and I love it. Come on, guys, bring it. Let's go.
Awesome. And our Tuesday night show is sponsored by Zoom. And if you believe adults should be free to explore their own consciousness and you're looking for a modern, precision-dosed psychedelic experience, check out zoomtrip.com. That's XUMTRIP.com and see what they're building over there. We thank them for sponsoring the show. And speaking of which, we thank all the subscribers as well. We've got a couple new ones here. We've got Healer Protector and Lemmy. They're the last 2 on the bottom right. So make sure you follow them as well. Appreciate all of our subscribers. Phil is also a subscriber, and he's on the show tonight, so he should probably win. And if you'd like to subscribe to us on X, you can do so there. And next month, we'll be adding a little bonus for our subscribers. We will be having a subscriber showdown, a show of just subscribers going head-to-head. And if you haven't subscribed already, but you want to be on that show, subscribe now, and you will be eligible. If you'd like to sponsor the show, email studio@freedomuncut.com. And we mentioned it a little bit before, but next week, May 21st through 25th, we will be at the Libertarian National Convention. We will be on the main stage doing the show Saturday night. And if you want to be there, register at lnc2026.com. Hope to see many, many friends there. It's going to be a blast. I always have a good time at these, and the national conventions are the biggest and the best. Also in July 8th through 11th, we will be at Freedom Fest in Las Vegas. It is the Super Bowl of liberty-based conferences. You can register at freedomfest.com. And if you use the Spike 100 code, not only do you get $100 off, but you help support You Are the Power. And we will be part of their offering, doing our show live in their area. So we're really excited about that. And then we announced this last week, but we will also be at the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival at Lake Satoshi, Michigan, and that's August 6th through 9th. Seems like it's a really cool time. I've heard great things. And if you want to register for that, go to mplfest.org. Looking forward to that. Let's jump in the chat and say hello to some folks here. Shirley joining us from across the pond, another subscriber. Thank you, Shirley. Amity's here, another subscriber. Anarchist Chef's here, another subscriber. Hey, A, is that safe tonight? I don't know what that means. Terry, if you could put the ones that, like, I know what I'm talking about, that would make it a little easier. Rob Yates, who's running for LNC chair, is here under the LPNC handle. What's up, Rob? Also a subscriber. And 200 to Phil because he can. That's true. And another 113 to Phil for changing his background. Yeah, he had the people come in to stop the flooding in his little den of whatever it was down there. Gnome's here. What's up, Gnome? Check out his show, 3 Shots In. He's doing some live streaming. Lemmy's here, our newest subscriber. What's up, Lemmy? Casey's here, another subscriber and the host of the They Both Suck podcast. Casey will be helping me out in Grand Rapids as well. He'll be there with the family. That's going to be awesome. First 200 to Katrina, LP Christian Caucus represent. 98 to Kat for playing from a car. That's true. 100 to Kat for the preview of where we're all going to be living in 3 years. That's
no.
True. My car's not that nice either. 200 to Kat to get the libertarians out of middle school. LOL. 200 to Joe for the best looking hair. That's not true.
It is true. It is true.
100 to Kat for doing the show from the set of Cash Cab. Scientific libertarians here. What's up, buddy? 100 pizza slices to Joe. 100 to Joe for wearing the same shirt every time I see him. Every time anyone sees him, Amity. At any time. It was a white shirt when I first met him.
True.
127 to Joe for only owning yellow shirts. Once again, that was accidentally. Chris is here, another subscriber. What's up, buddy? Waz is here. What's up, buddy? 100 to Joe for not getting the hint 5 times.
What?
I think he's saying you haven't done well on the show, Joe.
That's a lot more than 5 times I've not done well on the show.
You were on back when it was called You're Not a Real Libertarian, and we had no structure at all. 100 to Joe for the shout out to the champ, Ryan. That's true. Big howdy from Texas, y'all. What's up, William? Another subscriber. Minus 25 from Joe for not knowing Free was talking about himself not being in your hype video. Yeah, that was a painful little segment. We'll have to edit that out. Minus 200 for thinking professor and producer are the same thing. I went to art school. I have no respect for the word professor. 1 billion points to Terry for all that she does. True story. 2,000 to Professor Bats. The real Professor Travis Appalachian Liberty is here. Check out his show. What's up, buddy? 100 to Phil for being publicly associated with the show. Hashtag bravery. 100 to Phil for the Mario bricks in the background. Kilburn's here. What's up, buddy? I should be able to get at least 5 more views. Excellent. Appreciate that. All right. Amity just texted me that Rodney was, or that the one comment was for her. So now I have an update. So, all right, let's jump into it. Welcome again to Are You Smarter Than a Politician? Please share this out. Let's bust the algorithm. They hate us because we hate war and we hate all the bad stuff they do. I am on X at Smarter Game Show. Terry is at BatsT76. Helping behind the scenes is Amity. She's Amity Lee 13. And Casey's American versus Gov. Get both of their autographs in Grand Rapids next week. You can get our merch at freedomsuperstore.com. I am wearing the, what am I wearing? The Steal Your Wealth shirt. That's what I'm wearing. Steal Your Wealth. We got shirts and mugs. freedomsuperstore.com. You can get our shorts on YouTube at Freedom Uncut. We're also on Rumble. And speaking of LP Alliance, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, the great Jo Jorgensen, who I had more than one drink with in North Carolina several weeks ago, or at least allegedly, or I was told the next day. And she will be hosting the chair debate and 4 great candidates for chair that I all know. I know all of them really well. I like all of them. Evan, Jim, Wes, and our buddy Rob. That'll be really great. And you can also see the little QR code on the bottom. If you want to donate to get Povertarians to Grand Rapids, I appreciate everything LP Alliance is doing. And speaking of LP Alliance, I will be hosting the LNC Vice Chair debate on Thursday at 8 p.m. And, you know, if you like the interactions between me and Amanda, we're doing it on a different channel this time. And Bryce and Tony will be there as well. Looking forward to that. Appreciate them asking me to do that. And all right, so since Trump ruined peace prizes, we made our own. It's our grand prize. It's the Are You Smarter Than a Peace Prize. Also on the prize shelf, Mike Johnson's signature cologne swamp ass, as well as the Ayn Rand Fountainhead teddy bear. We also have the home edition of Are You Smarter Than a Politician, an assortment of great libertarian bobbleheads, and a new prize this week. If you win, your community gets a data center. It's high in resources, low in jobs, comes with all the government corruption that you can imagine. It's not just a win for some, right? So good luck with that. Hope you didn't need any water. Also, this new to the prize shelf is the Crisis of the Month Club, a new threat every month. This month, it's hantavirus, tiny rodents, huge headlines, and you get a different crisis every month. And because you're getting a crisis every month, you're also going to need the Are You Smarter Than a Politician crocheted mask. It doesn't stop any viruses or anything, but you'll need it to go grocery shopping and to go to your kids' outdoor sporting events for some reason. Also, if you have a mental midget, you need to take a bath. We have the Strait of Hormuz bath set. We also have the Southern Poverty Law Center hate group starter pack. If you want to get a grant from them, this is all you need to get some of that sweet SPLC grant money. And of course, we have the Trump nativity set because nobody will take this piece of crap off my hands, as well as the Lego Killdozer because nobody talks about the Killdozer more than me and Casey do. Here are the rules. I am the government. Whatever I say goes. Scoring errors count. Life isn't fair. Suck it up, Buttercup. Nobody cares. They can debate each other one time, one filibuster, veto, tariff, or redistribute an answer. And everybody starts off with negative 500 points because the government gets paid first. Here's how scoring works. The chat controls the score. You can give or take up to 100 points from contestants. And because I am the government and I believe in crony capitalism, subscribers can give or take up to 200 points because they pay me, so they matter more. Nuking a score. Any former contestant can nuke a score, taking it down by 1,000 points. Here's the twist. A contestant can only be nuked one time, and it has to be for a good reason. Lightning round. Here we go. I'll put Terry in the back. She handles the chat and the score. Appreciate you, Terry. Make her life very difficult, please. All right, Phil, to you. Category is who really runs the government? Are intelligence agencies operating with too little oversight?
I mean, yeah, I think there's been multiple bills that just keep expanding what they're allowed to do. And then there's laws that only get interpreted behind closed doors. That means that there is no oversight and they basically write whatever they want to do and then do it. And, you know, we've seen this kind of expand into everywhere where they're starting to label, you know, every single person that's an opponent of whatever political party that's in power as a domestic terrorist. And, you know, if they can basically put you in jail forever, I think that's about as far from outside of Overwatch as possible.
Totally agree. All right, Kat, to you, the question is, has lobbying become legalized bribery? Oh, sorry, you're muted. Hang on.
Okay.
I had you muted. Sorry. You had some motorcycle going by you, so I muted you. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, wow. Okay. I would say absolutely. I mean, why do we have all these like ex-congressmen? They just stay around in Washington forever. And then the next thing you know, they're lobbyists. And New York politicians love that. And the few New York GOP politicians that actually ever go somewhere, that's the first place they retire, is they not retire. They stay, you know, keep their jobs, right? Keep being paid as a lobbyist. So I think actually you can make a more lucrative income being a lobbyist. Probably pays better than being in Congress itself. Yep.
Yeah, very true. All right, Joe, to you. Do major corporations now shape policy more than voters do?
Yeah, and I just want to say, going back earlier, the comments were all fantastic. I think that's the best part of the show. I think we should have a whole show where it's just the comments going by. That would be awesome. But to the question here, the corporations, I think, do control things. They control the lobbyists, you know, going back to a previous question here. And they donate, make campaign contributions to the major political parties and to their candidates running for office. And so they want that money, so they actually enact some bills for those special interests, for those corporations. So they end up doing writing the legislation literally sometimes. So we need to get the money out of politics, honestly. I have not raised very much money for my campaign, but my opponent has. So that should tell you something about who I would work for and who my opponent works for. You got to donate to the candidates that don't get donations from these big special interests. Like AIPAC is the big one in the news like these days. You got to stay away from all the big corporate, big money contributions and go to who gets the money from individuals. Those are people you want to elect.
Are you saying because you haven't raised any money, you would work for no one?
That would be, yes, that is probably the most descriptive of my campaign. Yes.
I donated. So you raised a little money. That's true. All right, Phil,
I'll do whatever Free says.
That's a scary situation right there. All right, Phil, to you, the category is the expanding state. Has the federal government grown beyond what the Constitution intended?
Yes, and I think, I think there's a big problem with, maybe liberty-minded conservatives thinking that a document is going to protect liberty. It's been very clear that the Constitution has not done that. One look at the war state and the military-industrial complex, and you'll know that that piece of paper has done nothing. The only thing that stops kind of advancing tyranny is people that are unwilling to let it happen. And that means, rising up basically against the government and saying, you will not do this in our name. And like I said, if you were going to say, hey, there is some constitutional bound, okay, we've definitely gone beyond that. But the real question is, could that document have ever actually protected liberty? And I don't think it could have.
Probably true. All right.
Can I cut in one real quick here? Let's see if we can get Joe $75 in donations during this stream. I will match that $75. Actually, let's do $100. Let's do $100. I'll match it. And then if anybody else in chat wants to go along with matching, let's get him some money for his campaign.
Great idea. Excellent.
Thank you.
Really good. All right, Kat, to you. Does government now interfere in too many parts of daily life?
Absolutely. Even at the local level, if you go into like a New York City school, they tell you how to deal with, kids who get lice, how that needs to be handled. They force adults to get varicella vaccines who've maybe, I don't know, maybe they're born in the 70s or earlier on and didn't get that. So from even at the lowest level, we find that it's interfering with everyday life. So it just knows too much about you, cares too much about what you do, and it's all in the name of safety and all these, I hate to say it, these mother hens out there that go along with it and sign up for this, and they label you as, oh, you don't care about us, you don't care about people, you only care about yourself and your rights and your liberty, and who gives a crap? You're not, kind of like taking it for all of us. Just give it up for all of us. You're a bad person. And that's my thoughts on it.
I agree. All right, Jody, you. Would Americans be better off with more power returned to states and communities?
Absolutely. And by the way, I want to just quickly thank Phil there. Thank you very much for making that pledge. So now I work for Phil and Free. So if you guys disagree, we got to flip a coin for what I do legislatively. But no, I believe in decentralization of government influence as far down as possible to the individual, if possible. But certainly, I believe in right now between the federal government and the state government. I prefer state government, deciding things, controlling things more than federal government. And then same thing with local versus state. So as local as possible is better.
I agree. And that was very nice of Phil. And back to you, Phil. Category surveillance society. Are smart technologies creating a smarter control system?
Yeah, and kind of the advancement of AI is making it easier for government to get into that data and utilize it. And it's kind of like a loophole of, oh, the data is being collected by private companies. And I don't think people are realizing what they're signing over when they're signing these kind of agreements. And there should be more awareness to that. But it's also happening like through bills that are like you're forced to do. So like even something simple recently, an FDA advisor was basically trying to make it to be able to use a nicotine vape that has flavoring in it. You'd have to basically attach a thing to a Bluetooth on your phone, scan your face. All of that is biometric data. Then it kind of tags to the fact that you might be a nicotine user. And so literally everything you do is moving towards this harvesting of information about you. And it's obviously going to be weaponized.
I agree. I didn't know that about the vape pens. That's crazy. All right, Kat, to you. Are Americans being watched more than they realize?
Yeah, and the scary thing is people don't realize that when they're looking things up, data is being collected on you, and they just you're being pinned down to a profile, and that's just a little too much. And it's government, it's also business, and honestly, I kind of like the early 2000s when there was a lot less of it as compared to now. Yep.
Yeah, definitely agree. All right, Joe, to you. Should the government need a warrant to access digital data?
I don't think the government should have access to digital data or any data, period. But we are in this climate right now where, get a warrant, right? Although I hate that phrase because I don't want them to get a warrant. I want them to just go away and never come back. Yeah, under the current structure of the laws and all that stuff, yeah, it for process of the courts and enforcement of all these things, then yes, we should have a reason why there needs to be a search for, and hopefully it's for a violent accusation of a crime, and not like, oh, we smelled weed in the house or the car, so we got to go search that. That should be, laws like that should be repealed. And yeah, we need our law enforcement, our judicial system, our incarceration system, everything to be focused on real victimful crimes, not victimless crimes. I think I just invented a term there, victimful. I just made that up. But yeah, so it should be, it should be for serious things, and everything else should be, don't even step on my sidewalk.
I agree. And also you can see where you can donate to Joe there, joehannoush.com or paypal.me/Joe Hannoush.
Thank you.
All right. Back to you, Phil. Category is education without bureaucracy. Has federal involvement made education worse?
I think yes, and I don't necessarily think it has to do with the standard. It's just where the money is going. Most teachers are incredibly underfunded in the public school. And if you just raise the budget that's going to that, in reality, it just goes to administrators and bureaucrats. And so like the libertarian principle is that you could still have some sort of shared school with your community, but you want that money to stay there. You don't want it going outside for decisions to be made far away from the parents of the children. And so I think it has made it much more expensive than it needs to be. And I think it's made it much less effective than it should be. There should be better incentives for teachers.
I like it. All right. Kat, to you. Are parents losing authority over their children's education?
As long as you have your kids in government schools, you're losing authority over your kids' education. Honestly, you get these really crazy woke school boards. They will make all the decisions. You'll get the state bureaucrats and the educators at the state levels making decisions. And I'm going to tell you that you have very little say in what your child is learning or what's happening in the classroom. So they are losing their say, and the solution is to get them out. And the good news, I have good news, it's dying. It's dying. The wave of the future, you'll start seeing different types of school models exist, like micro schools. And remember, it's America's premier socialist institution. That's what public schools are. And right now, it's catered to the bottom. When all the resources are being put at that bottom 20% to get to the middle, and your kids, if they're at the middle, they're not doing much to be pushed to the top. So yes, you lose your say, but you also lose valuable. They're losing opportunities to learn valuable information and gain further skills if they're at that middle to the that could be pushed to the top. So, yeah, parents, just take them out. Take them out if you can.
Definitely. All right, Joe, to you. Should education funding follow the student instead of the system?
Yes, yes, yes. 110%. Yes. And I said 110% because I was educated in public school systems, so I don't know 100% is actually the top. But with that being said, yeah, I'm running for state representative here in Florida, and part of my platform regarding schools, obviously, we don't want government funding, government taxpayers going to fund government schools, but we're not going to have that libertarian utopia overnight. So within that system, we do have school choice here in Florida. We have something called the personal education program. Allocates about $7,000 or $8,000 per student per year. And in my county, it's the funding here, the budget per publicly enrolled student comes out to north of $20,000 per student per year. So it's 3 times that allocation within the personal education program. What I would like to do is double that funding. And I know, why is the libertarian saying we need to double the funding? Well, because if everyone was using that, guess what? The taxes overall goes down by 1/3. So that is what my goal is, as a baby step in a libertarian direction. And you could use it to homeschool, get your private tutor if you want. Because if you have 3 kids, each having, like $15,000 each, you have $45,000 to work with to have your own private tutor, your own, person homeschooling your own kids for you. Or you could not have to work that part-time or full-time job, and you could stay home as a parent or guardian of those students, those kids. But yeah, they're students too. Also, for 11th and 12th grade, I stole this from Larry Sharp, so I got to give him credit for this. For 11th and 12th grade, you don't learn a whole lot more. You kind of know the basics already, and you're really just prepping for college. Well, college is not for everybody. So you could use that money, $15,000, and go pay for like an internship somewhere. If you want to learn how to fix stoves or AC units, pools, whatever the thing is, that could be like. And if you don't like it, great, you made your mistake. Go start somewhere else next time. But you should be learning those mistakes young. Being an entrepreneur young. That's what I think everybody should be striving for, is to be an entrepreneur. But if you want to work a corporate job, fine. If you want to go to college, fine. That should be an option as well. I'm just saying college, as Phil mentioned earlier, the cost for admin is skyrocketing, and it's becoming unaffordable for a lot of people. So while we have these tax dollars going allocated to these, let's have the student or the parents of the students kind of guide those dollars with them to decide what they want to do. Sorry for the long answer.
No, that was a good answer. I appreciate it. All right, Phil, back to you. The category is the right to self-defense. Do armed citizens make communities safer? We lost your audio.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm back on. I hardware muted, so I didn't make any noise. Yeah, I believe armed communities are safer. And I think a lot of times you'll be in high crime areas, and then the local governments try to make the legal right to self-defense harder. And then you end up with communities that are basically at the subject of the whims of people that are not going to follow those laws. And this is where I think you end up seeing kind of large concentrations of violence, and then a community that's kind of subjected to it with no way out. And so, like, I suggest every community out there have armed defense for their community, not only to defend against criminals, but against agents of the government that are coming in and abusing the population. And that may become more and more important as time goes on.
Definitely agree. All right, Catrina, to you. Has the SAFE Act made New Yorkers safer?
No, all it has is made it harder for gun owners to acquire a gun. That's the only thing that it's accomplished. And what's going to end up happening is they're going to go so far back into anyone who applies for a gun's history. This is the direction it's going, and they're going to say, you know what? I see here that, maybe when you were 16 years old, you were depressed. And I don't think you should have a firearm just in case. Okay, well, you're 54. What does that have to do with it? It's like 30 years later. But they'll start using these things as an excuse as to why you can't have a firearm, and little by little, that list of those who could actually have one will dwindle down to until nobody can get a gun at all.
Definitely seems like that's the way it's going for sure. All right, Joe, to you. Are red flag laws too easy to abuse?
Oh my God, yes. And by the way, free Dexter Taylor. He's in prison right now in New York for a stupid law. I don't even think he broke the law. I think the judge just decided you can't have printed guns, and off to jail you go. It's absurd. So free Dexter Taylor. And red flag laws. Yeah, my sheriff here, local sheriff, just like he perp walks like 12-year-olds for these things, like just anything. And he's a big fan of the red flag laws. He was a big advocate of it when it passed here in Florida. In Florida, has red flag laws. When that passed in 2018, it's disgusting. It's one of the things I would like to repeal if I'm elected to Florida State House. Among other things, we raised the age from 18 to 21 to purchase a firearm. Those 18 to 21-year-olds, they're going away to college. Their first time away from their homes. They need protection. They deserve protection. And the safest place I ever feel, by the way, is like I'll have booths at gun shows, surrounded by guns. There's like literally thousands of guns around me. I never felt safer in my life than being at one of those gun shows. So yes, they absolutely increase safety, 100%.
Definitely agree. All right. Enter your scores in the chat if you've not done so already. Let's jump into the chat. It is hopping. All right. 200 to Cat, cool green screen. Kramer on Seinfeld used it as well. All right. And 200 to Phil for building the wall and getting Mexico to pay for it. 147 to Phil. There's no oversight. 100 points to Cat. Joe gets 100 for smoozing the chat. I thought that might happen. 100 to Phil for broadcasting from his nuclear bunker. That's where he always is. 176 to Joe for kissing up to the chat. Maybe you can redeem the points for a free pizza. 200 to Joe for getting all money out of politics. No, Casey, I think he said he got all the money out of fundraising. I think that's what he said. 153 to Joe. We're not in a club. I got you, Phil. I'm donating 100 right now. Nice, Casey.
Thank you.
All right. I missed whatever Phil said was getting a beer, minus 100 for him not waiting to answer. 197 to Phil. The CODIS is a failed compromise. 200 to Phil for fundraising for Joe. 200 to Cat, keep government out of our business. 186 to Cat for knowing the real name for chicken pox. Minus 9 to Joe for needing Phil to fundraise for him. I mean, literally someone had to do it.
I'm not good at it. Thank you, Phil.
Somebody had to do it. 100 to Hannoush because of Hannoush. 193 to Joe for the individual. Just gave 25 to Joe. Who's next? Let's get that Dr. Phil match. Yes. 200 to Phil if he gives Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch their cornerback. Sesame Street is no place to be territorial. They need that corner to sling some letters and numbers. 100 to Cat for her future shingles treatment, something to do with roofing, I think. Oh boy. Lancaster Libertarians here. What's up? Hey, friends. Patty Boots is here. What's up, buddy? 97 to Hannoush if he gets a fan and does that hair slow-mo scene from Con Air. Oh boy. 100 to Joseph for looking like he needs privacy. Absolutely. 200 to Joe. Forget getting a warrant. Just leave us alone. Points to Cat. More points to Cat. Get your kids out of the government schools. And number 13 to Cat. Get your kids out of the schools. 200 to Joe for not wasting his campaign money on wall decor. I bet his dining room table is made out of campaign signs.
It's a box. It's literally a box.
100 to Cat for micro schools. What is this school for ants?
Does anybody get the Zoolander reference there? That was a great joke, by the way.
Yeah, he's good. 200 to Joe for doing 110% is more than the whole, even though he went to a government indoctrination camp. 200 to Joe for proving libertarians are a big tent party. No others have Sasquatch running for office. 100 to Joe for the smart kids were taking college credits in 11th and 12th grade. 100 to Joe for making sense. 200 to Phil for muting himself. Brent's here from the Aiming Up podcast. What's up, buddy? Another subscriber. Hey, all listening on the road back home, driving through St. Louis now. Hope you had a great trip, buddy. -1 to Kat for not wearing her seatbelt. -100 to Phil just because I'm not qualified for 200. Hey, you could be. It can be done. 200 to Kat for not owning a car that the government can turn off. 200 to Kat if she goes in before the streetlights come on. It's dangerous out there at night. Points to Joe for free Dexter Taylor. Absolutely. Let's get Dexter out. 200 to Phil. One of those bricks has graffiti that says Haggerism. And -100 to Phil for explaining the joke. I thought that was a nice little value add there, but you lost points for it.
I know. It's how it goes.
Let's check out the scores. Joe in the lead, a very rare situation, 24-47. Must not be like fundraising because you're in the lead here. Catrina, 23-24, and Phil, 20-50. All very close. Let's jump back into it here. Phil, to you. Category is Endless War Machine. Does the Iran war risk becoming another decades-long disaster?
Yeah, especially if the people don't really make it known in the coming elections that they don't want this anymore. If we allow politicians to just keep putting our children into war and our young people into war over and over again and spending up all of our debt, then yeah, it'll keep continuing forever. I think that there is a shift within the zeitgeist of Americans just saying enough is enough. And I hope that really bears out in these coming elections. And hopefully we get some good anti-war people in.
Kat, to you. Does war mainly benefit political and corporate insiders?
Yeah, and that's the really sad thing. I really worry about these people when they die. Like, really, like if you believe in a hereafter, how do you just do this just so you can have a little bit of wealth here on this earth, really? And I really, it's the arms makers. It's political insiders that have knowledge of, the arms makers and inner dealings with them. And it's totally unnecessary. We're not attacked. Who has attacked us? Right? Not necessary. And so we're going to send, boys to die for, I don't know, just so some, weapons manufacturer can, make their money. No.
Yeah, I totally agree. Or bomb schools in other countries too. I'm against that.
Yeah.
And all right, Joe, to you. Should the United States stop acting as the world's police force?
Yes, 105%. Sorry, is that correct? 105%. Sorry.
That's also more than 100.
Yeah, it's kicking back in the public education system. Sorry. Yes, all the whole percentage. We should be out. We should not be world police. And in the Libertarian Party, I left the Republicans and Democrat parties because they were not anti-war, and I feel bad that I even voted for them because I thought they were. And we need to. The Libertarian Party is the biggest anti-war party there is. And we're not just anti-war; we're pro-peace, right? We want trade with everyone, and trade is good. It benefits everyone. We don't want sanctions. We don't want tariffs. These are very bad things. And we got a lot of libertarian candidates, not just me, but there are candidates running for federal office for Congress that are anti-war. Rebecca Whiting out in Minnesota, she's collecting petitions like coming up very soon in Minnesota just to get her name on the ballot. So if you're in Minnesota, look up Rebecca Whiting. She's a veteran, anti-war to the core. Look her up. Thomas Lane in Iowa running for U.S. Senate. He's collecting petitions. Vic Kaplan, again, another anti-war person in New Jersey running for U.S. Senate. He's collecting petitions. So if you could help them out, please do. Go to lp.org and click on Meet the Candidates, and you'll see some of those candidates' profiles there. And you can look them up. And if you want to help support them in your state, just by signing a petition, that would go a long way. So thank you for allowing me to have that promo of the Libertarian Party candidates.
Definitely. And appreciate all you do to promote candidates as well, Joe. Phil, back to you. Category is policing and civil liberties. Do police and prosecutors have too much legal protection from misconduct claims?
Yeah, qualified immunity is terrible. The idea was that, however flawed our governmental system is, there was an argument that you could always redress your government. But if the kind of violent arms of the government are able to just violate your rights and you have no means of, really getting restitution for it, then you basically already live under a complete police state. And now it's expanding even further to where these decisions are being made by, flock cameras and data that can, and LLM models that can hallucinate. And there's stories of like little old ladies getting thrown in jail for a month, losing their job, their house, and everything. And I doubt that there will be any repercussions for the company that supplied that data information to the police, or the police that went along with it. And I think there needs to be a big change. That way, basically the least among us are the ones that get hurt the most by these laws.
Yeah, I just saw one where somebody had their assets all seized from a state they never lived in and never worked in. It's crazy. All right. Kat, to you. Should body camera footage be public by default?
Yeah, I really don't think you should have to request it to see it. And just because you have to request it, and it's not public to everybody, it shows you that there's, law enforcement is very vulnerable, and they don't want to expose that. Why would the government want to expose its own vulnerabilities? If anything, they want to conceal it and make as many obstacles as it can for you to obtain it. So yeah, it should be. It should be. And I'm sure if it ever gets to that day where it's available readily, we'll discover a lot about ourselves. But I don't foresee that in the future, unfortunately, in any near future or even distant future.
I think it should be live streamed, but I would settle for your solution as well. All right, Joe, to you. Has policing become too militarized?
Yes, it has. Unfortunately, here in my own county, in my own city, they have like literal tanks that the local police stations have, and it's just like, why are we having that? It's not good, and I've seen them paraded around, like literally in a parade, and I'm like, why are we like, we paid hundreds of thousands taxpayer dollars, hundreds of thousands of these taxpayer dollars going to a tank for a parade, essentially. It's not necessary. It's over militarized. Unfortunately, they favor escalation rather than de-escalation. We need to de-escalate things. These are supposed to be peace officers, and that's what we need to go back to. This is not. It shouldn't be accusatory right off the bat. Should be. The local cop should be helping you, like, with your groceries to your car or fixing your tire or something. It should be like a nice thing, but instead they're allowed to open carry in some places or everywhere. But some places, an average citizen is not allowed to open carry. It's really wild, even with that alone, let alone the over militarization of the police.
Definitely agree. All right, Phil, back to you. The category is the cost of regulation. Has government made everyday life unnecessarily expensive? Oh, you're muted again.
I apologize. Literally everything is more expensive by them putting in kind of roadblocks in the way. And like I put a tweet out earlier, basically, like if you wanted to make lemonade, there's like 75 things if you wanted to actually follow all the laws. Now, luckily, people do gray market activities all the time and avoid having to do these regulatory actions. But that means they can still come after you. And so if you try to kind of go around them, they're going to come after you. If you do it the legal way, it's going to become incredibly prohibitive to new businesses, new ideas. And it's unfortunate that people believe that these regulations are there to protect them, because in reality, it usually is meant to protect liability for companies that are doing very risky things, right? And they say, hey, if you just follow this regulation with how much poison we can put in whatever, then the people that get harmed have no ability to kind of sue for damages. And so, we look at that as a way for corporations to capture the kind of violence of the government in their favor, and I think people should be rejecting them just on their face value.
Definitely agree. All right, Kat, to you. Would the economy grow faster with fewer regulations?
Absolutely. With less regulations, you'd have more people innovate. You'd have less barriers to entry into the market. A lot of new businesses would sprout up. Think of it. Think of it. If you live in New York City, how many regulations there are before you can even put up a sign, at a storefront. It's incredible. It's incredible. And think of how many useless regulations there are just to have a small mom and pop business. I mean, look, we have people who come from places with skills like in like natural hair braiding. All of a sudden they come here and now they have to take a course in it for X amount of hours. They've been doing it their whole life wherever they come from. You want to regulate it, you want to make sure that they're doing it safely, fine, let them take an online little health course with a little quiz, 5-question quiz or something. But to put them through hours, no. All you're really doing is just narrowing the market and the pool of people that are available to do certain things. It's not helping anybody. And you'll see prices come down when there's more ability to be on the market, to open up a business, to open up shop, to set up house or market new products without these regulations.
Definitely agree. All right, Joe, to you. Does America have too many licenses, permits, and fees?
107%, yes. And going back to the lemonade stand analogy, whenever you see a little lemonade stand at the corner or the street or end of the driveway, it's always cheaper than you'll ever get from like going to a fast food restaurant or something, like a drive-through. Even a drive-through is supposed to be cheap, right? It's like half that going to the local lemonade stand, and it's because they're not paying sales. Don't tell the police over here, but they're not paying sales tax. They're not having minimum wage laws. They don't have the required insurance for like something happens or whatever. It's just very simple. You're selling lemonade, and that's it. You go up there, and I always, whenever I see a lemonade stand at the end of a driveway or corner, I go there and I support those local future entrepreneurs right there.
Great. Now, when a tank shows up to one of those lemonade stands, I'm blaming you, Joe.
Probably.
Yeah. All right. Phil, back to you. Category is corporate power and political influence. Has the line between state power and corporate power disappeared?
Yeah. I mean, they have all of this excess capital that they can then buy politicians with. Those politicians can give favors to them. And really this is forcing a monopoly into various things. And so that's why I said before, these corporations are paying for certain regulations to happen. And then they get advantage from it, and they basically shut out everybody else. And my position is that libertarians should look at any sort of corporation that goes out of their way to buy violence with the government, should be looked at as the same sort of enemy that the large bureaucracy of government is. And we should be going out of our way with our money to support small businesses, ideally other libertarian-owned businesses, for the things that we need in life. But I think the further we get in with this whole, data center and AI spy state, you're going to see even more and more entwining of this, because the rules around those corporations can be controlled by the government, and then the government is not constrained by the people's rules on the government, and so we're kind of stuck in this. I think what's really going to be like a death spiral for freedom in America if we really don't take it seriously.
Definitely. All right, Kat, to you. Do government subsidies create unfair winners and losers? You're muted.
Yes, now I'm unmuted. Sure. And how do they make these decisions to give subsidies? They play favoritism. So whenever they're giving a subsidy, they're playing favoritism. They're determining who wins and who doesn't win. And I'm going to let you know, if you're like me, if you are a middle-class American, it's not you. They don't want you to win. We're the old Americans they don't care about. We're the group that they give two beans. So government subsidies, for one, shouldn't happen. You have to let the market play out its role. You need to let the invisible hand guide how businesses are successful and not successful, and let the market dictate the reasons for them to fail or lose. And subsidies, no, I'm sorry, no favoritism. I'm sorry. If you just came here, my state government does not need to give you money to start up your own business. What about me, fourth generation American, and I'm not eligible for a particular subsidy to start, maybe to start my own business. Maybe I just want to be just like you. And the same thing with these subsidies for women-owned businesses. I don't think in this day and age that women are disenfranchised. So offer them equally to both sexes, really. So no, the government creates its favorite, has its favorites, and really just does not desire its citizenry to really truly ever be seen as equal.
Totally agree. All right, Joe, to you. Has corporate lobbying corrupted the political system?
Yes, it has. It's gotten, if we have these good apples called elected officials, they've turned into rotten apples because of the core of how they get the campaign contributions, and just like influenced by these special interest groups. Again, going back to before, I think we need to get money out of politics. And it's kind of like a First Amendment thing when you really think about it. This is how we air our grievances to the government, is by running for office. Not only that, but getting elected. And it should be a very guy next door, average Joe kind of guy getting in these positions. And it shouldn't be big government or big lawyers, big corporations, special interest groups kind of dominating that field. So yeah, they absolutely should be gone. I mean, that's really simple.
Definitely agree. I'd like them all to go away. Phil, to you. Category is spying in everyday life. Are smartphones now personal tracking devices?
Yeah, I think going back to the first acts related to communications with cell phones, they basically had backdoors, they had phone tapping ability, even without home phones. But now that you're carrying them with you, you're constantly being GPS tracked if you're not putting them into like a Faraday bag, and all of that information is used to build a profile around you. And then they define you basically as this pre-criminal based on the things that you do on your phone, but also where you go, which phone you walk by. And this is incredibly dangerous to basically be making the argument like Palantir is, that they're going to end kind of crime in America. And the only way you do that is by preemptively stopping crime. And I think they believe that these kind of algorithms are going to be able to determine that. And hopefully the American people will wake up and recognize kind of the evil of that predetermined guilt.
I definitely agree. All right, Kat, to you. Should facial recognition technology be banned for mass public use?
Absolutely. You didn't give your consent. No, I mean, yes, you're in public, right? And other human beings that see you, how you can't hide from that. But no, to have your image taken, collected by the government just for walking down the street, that's absurd. They don't need to know where you are, who you are. They should know nothing about you. You are a private citizen. Absolutely nothing about you.
That would be great. All right, Joe, to you.
I would like to add that immigrants as well should also not be tracked by our government, as we've seen Fourth Amendment violations being basically everywhere because of the same sort of tools that they're trying to use on all of us. They're testing it out right now on immigrants. A lot of them are just little kids and parents that have come here to try to get a better life. And we can be angry that there are handouts being given to them at the expense of people that may have been here longer. Let's put that anger there and not forgive these same kind of spy tools being used on people that just are trying to find a better life, like my ancestors did 100 years ago.
Yeah, I would even add to that and say that they're using the scary immigrant as a reason to build the tracking system that they're going to use on all of us anyways. So we're paying for our own demise there.
And I'll add to that as well. Careful what laws you want enforced on other people, because government will use that to later put you underneath that umbrella of that law. And if there's a law you don't want on you, don't advocate for it to be on other people either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I piggyback on that? Where have we heard this before, right? The Patriot Act. Oh, terrorist. It's for terrorists. No, it's for you. It's for you. So yeah, all too familiar with this same song and dance.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'd like to say too that they'll come after the religious people next. I like to point that out to my religious friends. Is like they're always on the list, and if they think that it's the immigrants, they'll come for the religious people next. So, all right, let's jump back into it here. Joe, to you. Has social media become one of the largest surveillance systems in history?
Well, where do you think algorithms come from? They know what you're looking at, so they show you more of what you look at because they want you on their site longer. You are the product. Yeah, so it's absolutely surveillance. Yeah, 100% surveillance. Yep.
Definitely agree.
I would argue it
All
also
right.
is it's more than just surveillance too. It's nudging your mind. So like they know your psychology, and they are going to put subtle things in there that are going to take advantage of maybe weaknesses in your thought process, and push you towards things that are not good for you as an individual or society as a whole. And that's how people get kind of radicalized towards hate. It's how they get radicalized towards the idea of committing violence for some sort of political aim. It's very clearly being weaponized more than just for surveillance, but also for a sort of digital mind control.
Yeah, I would add to that too that there's a documentary, I can't think of the name of it, but they interviewed people from YouTube, and they said that if you Google or if you search in YouTube, is the earth flat? They'll send you all these conspiracy theory videos, because if they send you a 30-second one that says, no, the earth is not flat, then your search is over. But if you get the conspiracy theory ones, you'll watch hours and hours and hours of those. So yeah, so it's in their best interest to like send you down crazy rabbit holes.
So that's why I get those. Okay.
That's true. That's true, Joe. All right. Enter your scores in the chat if you've not done so already. Let's jump back into the chat here and see how it's going. 100 to Phil for explaining the joke. All right, so you broke even on explaining the joke. 200 points for the first person who says text it.
Text it.
There we go. 200 Joe.
It's the idea that Texas should basically pull away or a cessation of.
Yeah, the Texas secession movement.
I thought it was text it, or anyway, sorry.
You thought text it was what girls tell you to stop doing to them, right? Don't stop. Don't All right. 200 to Joe for being in the lead. First race he's ever come close to winning. Go, Joe.
True.
200 to Joe to keep him in the lead. 100 to Phil to encourage him to do better. 200 to Free for being consistent and always doing a segment in mute. Yeah, I do it a lot. I don't even think I muted myself that time. That was a weird one. 100 to Cat and Phil. Let's all hope not to end up where Trump, Obama, and that other guy are going. Yeah, that would be nice. 200 to Cat because F war. 37 to Joe Machina for mentioning Minnesota, the lesser Canada. 200 to Cat. Why? I hear voices in my head. Sometimes they say trust the plan. 200 to Joe for pro peace, not piece of pizza, but world peace. Or do you say a slice of freedom?
All of those are acceptable.
Yeah, I would take it. 200 Phil, qualified immunity is terrible. So is disqualified immunity. 200 Phil, his thoughtful and short answers are better than Larry Sharp's short answers. Larry Sharp has no short answers. 100 to Phil, but that's the little old ladies was a serial killer. Hashtag Captain Crunch. 200 to Joe. If I voted and if I lived in Florida, I would vote for Joe. So let's put William down as a no for Joe on this one. 200 to Joe for living on the front lines. War reporters' lives matter too. Another 200 to Joseph for wanting Andy Griffith to be a sheriff.
I do.
12.5 points to Phil. Lemmy, you're a subscriber now. You can give up to 200. Let's see here. Travis says 100 to Joe. Tanks. Tanks are overrated. 40 dudes stopped Hitler's 7th Panzer Division for 18 days and only had rifles, a bucket of paint in the air intake, and you've got a 50-ton paperweight. That is true. Points to me for great questions tonight. No, I'm not a kiss ass. They're great questions. I get it so rarely. I'll take it every time I get it. Thank you, William. Gray market lemonade is delicious and sweetened with the tears of politicians. 200 points to Phil. 200 to Cat. Less regulation means more innovation. Oh, that's Jake Day. What's up, Jake? He is a subscriber and he also does the If by Whiskey show. Check him out. 200 to Phil. Something about a muted mic shows wisdom and empathy. That's why I do it all the time too, William. That's exactly the reason. 17 and 76 to Cat. I get where you're going there.
Mhm.
Points to Joe. Licensing is when the government sells your rights back to you. Points to Joe. 107% was the correct answer. Not more, not less. Hey, it's the great Ryan Woodcraft of the historic victory in El Paso. Also a subscriber and a friend. Hey, it's Joe Hannoush. I know him. 200 points to Joe. But unfortunately, Ryan, you lose points for knowing Joe. So that'll be on the next show. 200 each because I'm high and I zoned out again. That happens. Points to Joe and Catrina and some dude named Mike. 200 to Cat. The government picks winners and losers, and they have decided the middle class are the losers. That's true if there's any of them left. 200 to Cat, end all subsidies. 193 to Cat for Crony. Bronner's here. What's up, Bronner? Hi, everyone. I'm late. I was over at Sharpway. It was probably supposed to be over 4 hours ago, and it ran over. But minus 100 to Cat. No one needs subsidies. I thought that might come. 200 to Joe. Elected officials are rotten to the core, but if you're elected, you'll still be a good apple, right? It'll be a good slice of pizza. 200 to Joe for calling out special interests, even though this game show is kind of like a special interest to his campaign, already practicing double standards.
Phil and Free are my overlords, and Casey now too. So they're all my overlords.
And Amity too. Amity, yes.
Yeah.
200 to Dr. Phil, pre-criminal. I just learned a new term. 200 to Phil for the OR crime unit. Minus 200 to Amity for not knowing the movie. 100 to Cat for based free market talk. 200 to Phil. No one hates immigrants. Blame the government for tracking. Or no hate for immigrants. Blame the government for tracking. Marcus from the Black Powder podcast is here. A friend of mine. Sorry I'm late. 100 to Joe. Joe, you produced that show or something like that, right?
Yes. I set up the guest. I invited myself. I scheduled myself last week. So
that's true. I saw some of that. That was a good show. 200 for all. First they came. Too many piggybacks and not enough debates. Minus 150 for each piggyback. I don't think we're doing that right. 65 for Algo Joe. And 200 to Phil. You had me at Faraday Cage. Hashtag CME. All right. Let's check out the scores again. We got still Joe in the lead. 5,086 points. I think Terry's not paying attention or something. Phil, 49.63. Cat, 46.17. All still very close. Let's jump back into it again. Phil, to you, the category is drug policy and personal choice. This category is brought to us by our friends at Zoom Beyond Shrooms. Check out zoomtrip.com, XUMTRIP.com. Phil, has the war on drugs failed?
Yeah, it's been a complete and utter disaster. The drugs have won, and in the process, safety of both the users and communities has gone down. Instead of having it being an open market where people can get drugs tested, they can go to reliable suppliers and learn about harm reduction. Instead, they're going to buy it from the street, maybe buy some marijuana or something and have fentanyl in it and die. There's a bunch of comedians that tried to get some cocaine and they died. And in the process of all of that, not only the deaths of people that are trying to use drugs, but people that are kind of innocent on the side have been arrested, harassed, have PTSD from interactions with police. There was a woman that had like a spoon that had some SpaghettiOs dried on it in her car from eating lunch. They tested it with a test kit in the back of the trunk of the car, the police car, and it said it was amphetamines. And then it goes to an actual professional analytical chemistry lab, which I know a little bit about. And then it shows that it's not. It was obviously the thing that she said it was. So all of these basically are just kind of pretenses for police to violate your rights as an individual. And it's a shame that it's gone on this long. And hopefully one day it'll be completely removed from society.
Absolutely. I took a baseball team to an older brother's funeral because he took something that he thought was something else and had fentanyl in it. So I am with you 100% on that. All right, Kat, to you. Should adults be free to make their own choices about drug use?
Yeah, anybody who's of the age of majority, I would say absolutely yes. There really is no need to, you do a crime on drugs, okay? Maybe you want to change the laws so that you can't use that the fact the that you've been intoxicated as a result. Maybe harsher times when you actually like hit someone with a baseball bat because you're trying to mug a gas station with some stupid tool that you might have. Maybe you don't have a gun or do something. You could look at that, but if you're an adult and you want to be at home and you just want to try something or ingest something, you should be able to. I mean, the government really doesn't have any business. Now, if you're subjecting kids or minors to it or exposing them to, watching you do it, that's a different story. But once you hit the age of majority, you really are on your own. You're a decision maker. You do not need the nanny state parenting you and knowing what you're doing or giving a crap that much about you. Because I don't feel the government really cares about us, right? So don't let them pretend that they do, that they care about your well-being and telling you what you can and can't do.
Totally agree. All right, Joe, to you. Has drug prohibition created more crime than it prevented?
Yeah, by definition, it does. Yeah, it creates literal crimes. We've tried prohibition before. We burned through two constitutional amendments regarding prohibition of alcohol. It didn't work. It created a violent black market, and we're doing the same thing right now with this reefer madness. We got a free to flower. It's one of the things, one of my top priorities, if I get elected to the state legislature here in Florida, is the free to flower, and not only for cannabis, it's for food, growing your own food as well. We had the shutdown here, 5 years ago, across the country. Almost every state shut down due to the COVID scare or whatever, and people couldn't go to the grocery stores, or when they did, they had like restrictions on them. We need to be able to grow our own food in our own backyard, our own cannabis in our own backyard. If you want to put alcohol, little brewery in your garage or whatever. I have a buddy of mine that does that. It should all be available. You should be able to self-sustain you, and government shouldn't dictate that on your own property. It's your property. So do what you want to do, as long as you're not harming anyone else. If something you do does cause harm to someone else, you should be held accountable for that thing that you did. But as far as like if you want to just smoke weed on your back porch, you're harming literally nobody. Free to flower.
Definitely. Well said. All right. Phil, back to you. The category is healthcare and bodily autonomy. Has healthcare become too controlled by government and insurance companies?
Yeah. I mean, like right now, there may be some, phase 1 clinical trial out there that's showing incredible success, but it costs a lot of money. But an insurance company can look at those successes and go, we're not even going to fund this, even if it's, past phase 3, just because it isn't the standard of care yet. And so now you have people that have the option of, hey, there's this thing that can cure me, but I can't access it with this insurance that I've been paying into. And when it comes to the government regulating it, yeah, literally, the biotech industry, was set back decades by, I hate to say it, some of it was religious lobby worrying about genetic engineering. But we're now entering a phase where people might be able to completely modify their genetics or how their body functions normally through biologic medicines. And that's all being completely regulated. And people should be free to risk their life to possibly save it or make it better. And unfortunately, you still can't.
Absolutely. All right, Kat, to you. Has the healthcare system become too bureaucratic to serve patients properly?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, you go to a hospital, you're getting billed $200 for a tissue box. How many people, you have to get maybe first declined for a particular prescription, then you need a prior authorization, and then you need the next level. Why? Well, we all know why. It's expense related, but these big giant healthcare companies, they end up buying like the smaller healthcare companies. And then the next thing you know, you're just you're paying an enormous amount, right? So they're big, they're bureaucratic. There's a lot of paperwork attached. A lot of it has to do with the government getting its hands into your healthcare especially during the Obama administration. And it not I would say not too much has changed. I mean, you can't buy catastrophic insurance, right? You're over 29 years old, you can't get catastrophic insurance. Why? I would say that is government bureaucracy interfering with healthcare, right? So it's, you know, honestly, make it simple. You don't need to, everybody doesn't need a plan where they have 30 sessions with a physical therapist. You get a 28-year-old or 34-year-old may not need that. Streamline it, trickle it down to what they actually need and let them pay for it. Not everybody needs to subsidize everybody who has an enormous healthcare tab if they wanted to buy insurance on the market. So it's too bureaucratic and very tailored away from what your needs are as the consumer.
Well said. All right, Joe, to you. Do Americans deserve more transparency about what goes into their food and medicine?
Yes, I think that's a great thing. It's actually one of the things I've campaigned on is like, you go to the grocery store, Walmart, Target, whatever store you go to, you see the price for literally everything. There's nothing without a label. And when you go to a doctor's office or a hospital or whatever, you see the price tags for nothing at all. There's literally nothing there. You don't find out the price for things until you get the bill in the mail, and it's like, whatever, thousands of dollars, which the majority of it gets paid for by insurance. However, they mark it up like 10 times or 107%, whatever the percent is. So they end up negotiating it down like 80% or something, but you're still paying way more, like the example that Catrina gave earlier. You're still paying like $200 for a box of tissue. It's insane. So yeah, we need transparency in these things, and people should want to do that also. It shouldn't be hidden, because if you're not showing what's on the label, then what are you trying to sell here? So yeah, I think it should be you should want to promote the products, the ingredients in the products.
I agree. All right, Phil, back to you. The category is the future of money. Would a government-controlled digital currency give officials too much power?
I mean, I don't know if it's going to change that much when it comes to like the ability to control monetary supply, because like obviously the way the Federal Reserve works now, they have absolute control over the monetary supply. But it would change a few things. Like if the digital currency that they have is done by an open ledger system, like Bitcoin, or some of these other ones, then every single transaction you do is registered, literally everything. And we all know that they're not going to leave you to have an anonymous wallet if it's with government currency. It'll go through other institutions. And so I think the real risk is more about kind of trying to stop your ability to pay for things that you want to pay for, or whatever the government deems that you're allowed to pay for. And at the same time, having an even easier time maybe controlling, the monetary policy.
All right. Yeah, I'm freaked out about programmable money, but those are good points too. Kat, to you. Has inflation become a hidden tax on working Americans?
See. Yeah, it's kicking everyone's ass. I feel like everybody's gotten a big butt whipping from inflation post COVID. Our lives are very different now. I don't know about you, but I feel like I used to travel all over prior to the pandemic, and each year, I guess I'm not going to Brazil to visit relatives or to Europe or anything. Inflation is really it's a punishment. And it comes from a lot of reasons, but I don't think all of that quantitative easing that we've endured, QE5, QE6, needed to happen. That made matters a lot worse. So inflation is it's a punishment. And you know what? Some people are like, oh well, I have these big loans. Inflation will eat it. Yeah, when maybe it's steady inflation, but when it's 2%, but when you're going up at 3, 4, even higher, and they're saying lower, than it actually is, it really truly is a punishment, and it's not always that wages can keep up with that.
Yeah.
Can I add on that a little bit? I think we talk about inflation, I think, in the general sense and say, like, oh, it was COVID that did it. But then you touched on later on that it was really kind of the monetary policy that did it. So yes, COVID's going to make things more expensive because people are working less on it. But the lasting effects that people feel today are clearly from the monetary policy of just printing more and more money. And it happened under Biden's regime when we really saw the most effects of it. But the largest spending ever happened under Trump in his first term, and we had the inflation effect being a lagging indicator during Biden's term. And now we're Trump's printing money again massively, and it's always going to be lagging. And so if you kind of print at the end of your term, you can just blame it on the next politician without anybody actually analyzing where the inflation comes from. And unfortunately, I don't think the general public is kind of taught about this at all.
Do the rules allow me to debate?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I no, actually.
Wait, hold on. Hang on one second. I'm going to remove me and Joe from the screen. You make your point. Phil will make his point, and then we'll see how it goes. So go.
Well, I would say it's not really a debate. I would just really say it's a statement. A lot of this, I would blame a lot on Janet Yellen. Federal Reserve. I think 2014, 2015, her solution was to continuously print, and for a while there, I thought we were going to end up with American inflationary notes, like the Germans had. That was a real concern. But later on, we'll find out that technology also has its place in this too. Like in other parts of I would say American history, that's going to play a factor in. But the printing of our monetary supply is really added to it. And I knew once they were giving out those checks, those pandemic relief checks, so we were going to be in for a hell of a ride the next couple of years.
Yeah, but people blame those, and this isn't really a debate. I think it's more of just kind of a somewhat of an agreement or sharing different perspectives on it. But the general population got very little money in comparison to big corporations, and the amount of money that was dumped into the markets. And so people point to that and go, oh, look, some small amount of money went to people that might be suffering during this kind of government lockdown, where people can't earn their own money. But I think I look at it and go, man, if you were going to divide it up equally, it probably would have been better, even though we don't want them to print any money. Their selective choice of where they put the money was really bad. And it makes it even worse because the natural inflation that comes next hurts the working person more. And if you own a bunch of assets, like the people that are the CEOs of those corporations, their value keeps going up dramatically. Whereas, the common person's wage does not increase at the rate of the compounding inflation.
Yeah, and these are special accommodations made to Walmart and of other companies of the likes during the pandemic, while your mom and pop shop had to close down. Why? Was the big corporation, they were much more trustworthy to keep you socially distanced than your local hardware store? Totally unnecessary. And over here in New York, we really felt that under Emperor Cuomo after the pandemic. We went way too far. And one thing, it's good that New Yorkers didn't forget that. Although, as quick as they seem kind of quick to forget it to a sense, but they didn't forget it when he ran for mayor of New York City. So I'm glad that was still in their mind.
Yeah, I would just add to that too. Like, I think all those points are valid. They printed money, but they also are spending over double what they spent pre-COVID. So like the spending hasn't gone down. They wasted all that money, and they're like, you know what? We got away with spending $7 trillion. Let's spend over $7 trillion and see what happens. So, it's all of those factors. All right, let's jump back into it here. I don't remember whose question it was now. That was Kat's question. All right, Joe, to you. No, I got the same question twice. I don't know what I'm going to do there. Let me see. Joe, I'll get you with a question in a minute. Let's just go to the next category, and I'll go to Phil again.
That question about inflation has inflated its own inflation. It doubled.
Yeah, it did double. I have a duplicate inflation question. So we 3.6%ed the question there, like Trump did. All right. Let me go back to Phil. So, Phil, to you, the category is parallel systems and local independence. Should people be free to create independent education, defense, and monetary systems?
Yeah, I mean, like earlier we were talking about the idea that people, should get out of government schools because of something, Kat has an opinion about some sort of social preference about kind of woke teachers or whatever. But in reality, if everybody creates their own parallel systems, you will have schools that will be, more kind of socially conscious around socially progressive ideas. You might have some that are around socially conservative ideas. And these sort of parallel systems allow people to exist without kind of fighting over forcing other people to fund it. And so this exists, I think, for basically everything, and also with community defense, right? We saw sort of the federal government kind of going into places like Minnesota, causing massive violence against the population that didn't want them there. And in reality, I think if people were more ingrained in this idea of parallel systems and community defense, they would have kicked out any sort of feds that were in their city and say, no, thank you. We don't want you here. And I think that ability to kind of delocalize and have parallel systems is going to be maybe the only way we get out of this system that we're dealing with now with less violence than a sort of physical revolution.
I agree. Joe, I found your question, so let's go to you next. Is cash disappearing on purpose?
Yeah, just like the question disappeared on purpose, I think. Yeah, I mean, we just got rid of the penny, and this actually goes back to the inflation thing. The price of the materials has not increased to meet the penny that is now gone. It's the value of the dollar, or the cents in this case, that has gone down. So it doesn't even make sense to coin the coin anymore. So yeah, we are definitely going away from it. It was cost a lot less money to have the digital currency than physical. So yeah, I unfortunately I think it is going that way, and it's a lot easier to print more dollars, more credits, if you will, doing it that way than having it backed by gold at Fort Knox, which obviously isn't a thing anymore. But yeah, we got off the gold standard. It's devalued our money exponentially. Going back like 100 or so years when the Federal Reserve was created, the dollar is worth like 3 cents compared to what it was back then. It's insane.
Absolutely true. All right, Kat, to you. Would Americans be more resilient with stronger local economies?
More resilient. Yeah, but I worry that we've fallen into a bit of a laziness, a bit of convenience, because we're so busy working that everybody just do on their phone, have it sent to me. However, it doesn't mean that we couldn't have a system where local things were sent to you for in your own nearby local economy. Maybe it doesn't need to come from 4 states away at an Amazon warehouse or one of your local Amazon warehouses. It would be more resilient. You'd probably have better prosperous communities. I remember hearing an aunt's husband from Italy. It was said, keep your money where you are. That was his word of advice. Keep your money where you are. So, and the end result, yeah, it's better for you in your local community. But there'll be people who will say, oh, but we'll all prosper if we're all buying from everything all across everywhere. I'm not sure. I think Americans will be more resilient because our communities will be stronger at the local level, and I think then that equals thriving. So yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah. Terry said what I was going to say, which is Mulberry Tree app has farm to table instant cart, very cool stuff. And there's a lot of stuff if you want to get farm fresh food delivered to you. You can get that done. Like they have subscription services where you get, a box every week or every month or whatever you want. There's stuff like that. And then you can order from a lot of local restaurants and stuff like that via apps as well. But yeah, I mean, keep the money in your community. That would be great. All right. Joe, back to you, unless I screwed it up again. We'll see if this works out for me. Joe, do decentralized systems make abuse of power harder?
Yes. Well, no, wait. Decentralize the system, make it abuse harder? No, I think the opposite. I think larger centralized makes it more difficult because then you have the top basically regulating
Wait,
everything.
hold on a second. Let's do this one more time. Do decentralized systems make abuse of power harder?
Did I misunderstand that?
I feel like you were saying that it's easier to make to abuse power with a centralized system.
Yes.
Okay, let's go that direction then.
Okay. I mean, I was going, well, in my head anyway, I was thinking about the previous question, and I had the farmer's market analogy going on. And I know, like, in my local farmer's market, on Thursdays until 1 o'clock over at the library. Anyway, I loved going there. And I could just walk in and there'll be someone selling, or a couple people selling vegetables, flowers, edibles, allegedly, just like desserts, like whatever, shirts, paintings, whatever the thing is. And I don't have to deal with government at all there. I don't even think I pay taxes on there. And it's just direct. I'm getting it directly from the person that produced that product. And it's a very decentralized thing. It's literally my neighborhood or my city's farmer's market. So if it's like, a big centralized area, something that's like more federally, more nationwide, it does get to be more complex because they have to be it's more regulated. It's not the lemonade stand in the corner. So maybe I'm misunderstanding the question, but that's what I thought of.
No, I think you got it, but I think we're just going in different directions for a second there.
Right.
All right, Phil, to you, the categories transportation and control. Should governments track drivers as closely as they do?
No, they shouldn't. But at first, I have to mention Samuel Edward Conkin III. That was for 100 points in the chat. And I think the question was about driving, right? If they should be able to track our movement. No, the government should not be able to track our movement at all. They're trying to track not only our movement, but also control our movement now with sort of shut-off switches inside of modern cars. And I think older cars will become increasingly valuable until they make a law which says actually using anything that is not trackable and shutting, the ability to shut it down becomes illegal. And so if you own that old car, you're probably a terrorist now by all sort of government metrics. I think I got the question right. Let me know if did I answer a different question?
No, you're good. You're good.
All right, now.
I think I'm getting trolled. It's fine. Kat, to you. Do toll systems increasingly feel like permanent taxation?
The toll systems. A lot of, if we're talking about, tolls in general or just like little tolls, like you're driving a car toll, like pay the toll, cross the bridge. All that stuff was supposed to be paid for a really long time ago, and then I see out west, some of these places that were called freeways now have tolls on them. What the hell is that? So if that's what you mean by a toll system, but if you mean toll in, in a sense of another type of tax elsewhere, I would say so. But it's not necessary. Why are we paying for usage? Why? Like it doesn't make sense of it. I'm gonna actually piggyback Larry on this. Let a business sponsor an area and then they can pay that toll. Put up a big billboard.
I like it.
Yeah.
Like one of the great takes from Larry. All right, Joe, to you. Have vehicle registrations and fees become excessive?
Now, I just want to remind people, so in case I answer this wrong, I have a public education. So fees on licenses, one of my big sticklers here is, property taxes are basically you're paying rent to the government to own your home, right? Same thing with those car tag stickers. You got to pay an annual fee just to ride your car somewhere, anywhere, local farmers market, whatever the thing is. Or the pirates are going to stop your car and give you a fine because you didn't pay enough before. And I want to talk about toll roads as well. I was actually going to the Florida Libertarian Party convention, across the state, and I purposely did the Google thing, whatever it was, Google, whatever company it was, the GPS system, and to avoid toll roads. And then like a month later, I get this thing in the mail from a camera on my car, and they were charging me like $1.50 because I missed the toll. I'm like, I didn't go through the toll, and that's what I told them. I went on the their online system and told them that. Then a month after that, they sent me another letter for the same thing, and then like an additional fee for like a late charge or whatever. So I just paid it because it got up to like $5, and I was like, obviously they're not listening to me. They just want to extort me, and that's it. So I didn't get my day in court. I was really upset about that, and so I want to abolish the government tax, government rent to drive your own car.
Totally agree. All right. We have reached the end of the night. Enter your scores in the chat. Tell us who you think won. Tell us what you thought of the show. Share it out one more time if you enjoyed it. Let's jump into the chat one last time here. And did I hear that Josephus is still winning? Plus 200 to Josephus because I didn't need to jump in with a wig to help you out. I think you've officially become an Are You Smarter Than a Politician legend when you have 19 nicknames. So it's like you and Casey, and I think you're in rare air there, Josephus. All right. 200 to Cat, pity points for third place so far. 200 to Phil, drugs have won the war on drugs. 100 to Phil, drugs have won, and it's not even close. 200 to Phil, go drugs. 200 to Phil, I knew I had a reason. My memory is worse than Biden's. Hello, my name is Brandon. That might be why we're not getting more sponsors. This is our target audience here. Yeah. 200 to Cat, F the nanny state. 200 to Cat, hate the nanny state. 200 Joe, prohibition doesn't work. 200 to Cat, they don't care about us, said Michael Jackson when asked about the government. 100 to Joe, prohibition is stupid and wasteful. 100 to Joe for the black market comment. It'd be nice to shop somewhere free can't go. Oh my God. Do you have a coupon code for Zoom? No, we do not. Just go straight to zoomtrip.com, XUMTRIP.com, and get their goodies. They're a lot of fun. 100 to Cat. 100 to Joe, do what I want on my property, but he doesn't want me to build a data center on it, right? Hashtag no data centers without consent.
Whatever you want to do.
Really?
Whatever you want to do.
Next to a data center?
It's if it's your property and it's not the government doing it, I'm okay with it.
I mean, there is an argument to be made that we wouldn't have this sort of giant data centers that we might have now without the sort of kind of schmoozing by our government to make it happen. But I will kind of disagree somewhat with the chat on this, is that if you start extending your property into the surroundings by poisoning waterways, constant noise, I think there is a question about kind of your property extending then out into the common space of somebody else's property. And currently the system does not allow you to basically sue them for poisoning you. And like, obviously in a perfect world, you could go to some sort of arbitration and eventually, actual self-defense against it. But we're not in a perfect world right now. So I don't know if there's a perfect answer on how to deal with data centers currently.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear on that. Like, if it is impacting your neighboring properties, yeah, you should not be doing that. So whether it's the noise or taking up the water, poisoning the water, lighting, if you have your lights on your property pointed at your neighbor's property, you can't have that. You can't be infringing on other people's property either. So it's got to be self-contained. So if you don't even know what's going on, then I think that's okay. And again, as long as it's not the government doing it either.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong on that one. First time I'm wrong, and maybe I'm ruining my lead here at the end, but that's just what I think. It's just like the food thing and the flowers, cannabis. If it's on your property, it's yours. You're not harming someone else.
Yeah, I saw a thing. I'm with Phil on this. Like, I saw a thing where companies got like decentralized data centers where you have like little things attached to your house, and if you have solar or whatever, you can run them. But
Right.
yeah, like, you know, if one of those nasty things was next to me, I'd be pissed. So, all right. Points to Kat. Yes, what she said. Points to Phil. Pass me the name of your bricklayer and your drug dealer. Points to Phil. You mentioned Bitcoin and anonymous wallets. Kat's here. What's up, Kat? Missed you. And oh, by the way, Kat donated to us when we were doing the many state tour we did. So we appreciate that, Kat. Points to Phil. It's the system designed to inflate. Points to Kat. Inflation has kicked our asses by design. 1971 versus today, minimum wage should be 184 per hour to match the 160 it was in 1971, based upon how much gold per hour could you have bought. That's a name no one's heard in a long time, Janet Yellen, and thank God for that. Points to Phil, hashtag end the Fed. Big corps own the federal government. Inflation hurts us more. Points to Joe because Free skipped him. Yeah, that's fair. 42 to the first contestant to say the number.
42.
I did it on screen by
42?
hand because I didn't want to interrupt anybody.
Oh,
If you watch it back, I did one of these, but I don't know if it counts.
I think it's not 42. It's the answer to the question.
universe.
So this is Jeopardy here. That's the answer to the universe. I forget it now. Damn it.
that was a good story.
What is the answer to the universe is what it would be in Jeopardy, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Points to Phil for pimping agorism. Points to Joe, inflation question math. Points to Phil, parallel systems. Hell yes, hashtag agorism. Clock is ticking. Oh, there we go. Points to Joe for answering disappearing questions. Very magical. Good job by you. Points to Kat. You have a bright white UFO over your right shoulder.
I saw that.
100 to any panelist. Oh, we got that one done too. Points to Kat. Don't walk into the light. You're still needed here. The show isn't over yet. Joe is so agreeable. He got points. 17 for sneaking a gummy in, Joe. Well, no, now tanks are going to go to his farmer's market too. Joe's getting the whole freaking city raided from one appearance on here. Minus 100 to me for meddling in Joe's questions and answers. Typical government. Don't send the IRS auditors, please. All I was trying to make sure is that he didn't say decentralization was bad. That's all I was trying to prevent.
Right.
And it might have been a shitty question. I don't know. It happens. Points to Phil for mentioning Conklin. I didn't read the chat. Healer Protectors here. What's up? Another new subscriber. Joe moved to Virginia. We could use you. Yeah. We don't want to lose him though. He's a national treasure down here in Florida. Points to Joe mentioning how car licensing and property taxes are horrific and extortion. Dan's here. What's up, Dan? Another subscriber. Points to Joe. No stickers on cars. Michelle's here. What's up, Michelle? Points to Kat. Points to Phil. He gets it about data centers. Points to Joe. Points to Joe. He gets it. Points to Phil for paying attention to the chat. And Jonathan Miller's here. He's running for NC Senate. He's also a subscriber. 100 to Joe. I'm really late. And the first thing I heard him say was marijuana. I just wrote an article about marijuana. That's why I'm late. If you wrote it on marijuana, that also might explain why you're late. But let's see who won. Oh, it got really close at the end. It was flipping and flopping. Let's see. Joe with the win, 73-79. Phil, 72-32, just behind. And Kat was right there too, 69-17. Kat, it was your first time on the show. You got locked in your car, which is probably a problem. What did you think of the show?
I thought it was a lot of fun. And for those who wondering why I'm in my car, is because I had a pre-trial conference for a ticket. So I had to go tend to that instead of getting to stay home tonight behind my computer and join you guys from the comforts of my home. But the officer that pulled me over back in October, he did look like Master Ken from that dojo show. And that was weird.
All right. Well, tell everybody about your campaign and where to find you and all that good stuff, please.
Yeah, you can find me now on X, cat_. R4 at large. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me at the National Convention. I look forward to meeting with you. I will be getting there late on Wednesday night. This is my second LNC convention, so I know it's going to be a lot of fun. I also want to give a shout out to Pat Ford for all the hard work and planning that he's put into this convention. I know it's not easy, and it's probably a thankless job, but there'll be a lot of a good pat on his back for doing this, and a lot of people are thankful and happy to have another LNC convention. And let's go into the second half of our 50 years coming out as a party that can still have fun, still have the political subculture, but projects itself in a new way towards Americans. Let's invite people rather than bringing them in and fighting with them over nuances. Every one of us is an individual. We'll agree with each other, most of the time, and we don't always have to be at war with each other. If you could get someone to agree with you 80% of the time, 90% of the time, that's great. Bring them in. Don't push them out so that they run away. And let's lay the bricks down for another great 50 years.
Awesome. And like Kat mentioned, you can find her on X at @Kat_R4 at large. And yeah, looking forward to meeting you at the convention, Kat. Thanks for doing this tonight. Second place went to Phil. What'd you think, buddy?
Oh, it's always fun, and I'm happy to see that Joe has won for the first time ever.
That's true. Tell everybody what you're up to and what you guys got going on this week.
So I'm with a group called LP Alliance. Kind of our goal is to kind of revolutionize the Libertarian Party. I think libertarians have kind of won a lot in the culture space where people adopt our ideas and we don't really get credit for it. So I think the libertarian, movement has won a lot, but the party has not kind of gone to its full potential. And so, inside of LP Alliance, there have been people that have been trying to think of, is this a structural problem? When something doesn't kind of work out well, you kind of have to look at the structure and say, hey, we're going to change this. How can we make this better? So our organization has been having many members contribute to new bylaws changes. And so, if you want to contribute to that, we're calling it the members bylaws. So that way you can get your voice heard and things you want to have changed. And so I would say, check it out. We're trying to solve some of the issue where people don't feel represented inside of the Libertarian National Committee, and getting more voices there, being more member driven. So that way each kind of state party has a member that contributes. Outside of that, we are doing a chair debate. So tomorrow night, we'll be doing a chair debate. Go to that. We also, while we're doing that, are collecting money for people that normally, like working class libertarians that normally cannot afford to make it to convention, to show up and have their voices heard. Only the people with means shouldn't be the only ones that are included in the Libertarian Party process. And so every 100% of your donations go to that. So show up to the debate, ask questions. There should be some where you can actually, if you want to ask a spicy question, you can donate, and then you can ask a very spicy question to some of the guests. So please come to that. And then the following day, we are also doing a vice chair debate. And so we really care about people knowing who their, representative members inside of the LNC are. And we really want to support people that are willing to open up the space for, basically all libertarians.
Absolutely. You guys do great work. And you can follow Phil on X at Phil_Rein, and LP Alliance is at LP_allies. And let's see if I can do this smoothly enough, but they've got the LNC chair debate moderated by the amazing Joe Jorgensen. That is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And they couldn't get anybody to host the vice chair debate, so I'm going to be doing that one. And that will be on Thursday at 8 p.m. Although I do kind of feel a little bit like Spike with Joe doing the chair debate and me doing the vice chair debate. So I took that as a compliment. So that'll be awesome. I'm looking forward to doing that and appreciate you guys putting that all on. And the big winner of tonight, not only did he win the show, but he raised probably 3 times more money than he's raised in his 4 previous races. Joe Hannoush, what'd you think, buddy?
That's probably true. I am still trying to qualify, or maybe I'm not. Maybe I don't need to try anymore, because maybe I fundraised, or Phil and Free and you guys helped me fundraise or did the fundraising for me to qualify for the ballot. It is a kind of a high hurdle here in Florida. So I do sincerely, I really appreciate being able to come on and talking policy, with Phil and Catrina. It's a great platform to do that, and it's appreciated. I'm running for my 5th time here for Florida State House. Actually, my 4th time for Florida State House. I ran previously as for Congress here in Florida, but as a Libertarian, and I'm trying to help build the viability of the Libertarian Party. As Catrina said, we've had a great 50 years. We need to build on that. We need to support our candidates more. We have over 300 candidates running right now in at least 2/3 of the states that I'm aware of. If you go to lp.org, go to meet the candidates, there'll be some of them there. There's actually a lot more. If you're interested in trying to support a Libertarian in your state, reach out to me, and I'll try to connect you if I'm aware of candidates running your state. But we need to support have the LNC support candidates, support members, support affiliates. Fundraising is what we need over there as well. State level, local level, and that's really what's very important about this upcoming LNC convention. And I'm glad to see Phil and Catrina go in there, and free you as well, and Amity and everyone else. And I'm going there to do whatever I can to fill whatever seat I need to be a voice for that, and not only a voice but take action to help ballot access, help us become a viable alternative to the authoritarian duopoly that is Democrats, Republicans.
Totally agree. And you can find Joe on many of the socials at Joe Hannoush, and you can donate to his website through his website, joehannoush.com, or paypal.me/Joe Hannoush. Joe, I say this all the time, but you're probably the most underrated person in the Libertarian Party. You do so much for local candidates and both nationwide, state, and local level. You do an amazing job. Appreciate you, brother. And congratulations on the big win. Let me add back Terry here. Terry, what'd you think tonight?
That it's so great to see. I mean, everybody in the chat, even if people don't agree, and people on our guests that are out there working hard to raise liberty in whatever area they can. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate all the hard work you guys do. I appreciate all the hard work the chat does in supporting everybody. Our chat's awesome. They get out there and go after it all the time. And thanks you guys for being on the show. You did a great job. Joe, I have circled this date on my calendar and put a follow-up congratulation on my task list already. You are finally there. You did it.
Awesome. And thanks again to Zoom Beyond Shrooms for sponsoring tonight's show. They are at zoomtrip.com, xumtrip.com. Thanks again to all of our subscribers, especially the new ones, Healer Protector, and Mr. McChuggington is his handle, Lemmy. Follow them for sure. If you want to subscribe, you can, and you'll be part of the subscriber showdown if you subscribe now. And if you want to sponsor the show, email studio@freedomuncut.com. Like they mentioned, all 4 of us will be at the Libertarian National Convention next week. If you want to go register at lnc2026.com, then the show will be live from Freedom Fest in Vegas, July 8th through 11th. You can register at freedomfest.com. Use the discount code SPIKE100 to save $100 and also support You Are the Power and the amazing work that they're doing. And then in August, we will be at the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival. I think it's a more laid-back camping type thing. If you're into that thing, it's in Lake Satoshi, Michigan, and you can register for that at mplfest.org. Really looking forward to that. And you can follow me and Terry on X. I'm at Smarter Gameshow. She is Bats T76. Appreciate you all. Hope you had a good time. The chat was fire again tonight. We learned stuff from you. We had a lot of fun. Thanks for doing this. And we will see you all Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Peace out, y'all.